Welcome back to Next Level You Podcast, episode 68. Today, I am talking to you guys all about getting back into a routine after a life change. So, me specifically, I have returned back to work from maternity leave, and that's a huge life change. And so, what I'm finding is it's really hard to get back into a routine. And I really want to be more intentional and diligent about getting back into like my health and wellness routine. And I thought for sure I'd just pick up right where I left off prior to us having Augie, but it has not been that easy. And I imagine a lot of you can probably really relate to this. And it doesn't have to be from having a baby. I mean, it really could be from any life change, right? So I feel like this is a topic that is going to hit home for a lot of people. So I just thought perfect time to talk about it as I am trying to work on balancing this in my own life. Okay. As most of you know, we adopted a baby boy back at the end of March. And as anybody who is a mother probably understands, life after a baby, it is just like shakes things up, right? I just picture like a snow globe and like a little child just like shaking the heck out of it. That's what it feels like. Your whole life just gets it changes, overnight, literally. I mean, we went to bed on a Friday night, just a family of three, us and our dog, and woke up the next day and we had a baby that was born, and life changed that quickly. And I really think it's important to just honor the current season that you're in. I went back to work last week. As I'm recording this, it's our wedding anniversary, actually. It's July 7th. And I went back to work last week for the first time. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this, I don't feel like it's fair to call it postpartum because I'm not the one that had the baby, but I'm going to call it postpartum just because I don't know what else to call it, I guess. But this season that I'm in, post Augie, post bringing Augie home, has been an emotional roller coaster for me. It has been mentally exhausting and physically exhausting as well. And I'm sure all of you moms can really relate to this. What I've been telling a lot of people is that first week taking Augie to daycare, I compare it to that, like the first week bringing him home from the hospital. Like nothing prepares you for that emotionally. It was so tough. I took him to daycare for the first time last Monday, and I left kind of in a hurry, and I felt horrible about it because I didn't even have any therapy sessions until noon that day. But I guess I just felt like, what's the point of dilly-dallying, right? Like, go in, drop off what she needs, and leave. We sent him to an in-home daycare provider who we know fairly well. And, I took in the diapers. I took in the breast milk that she needed. We've been getting donated breast milk, which I'm so grateful for. And I was putting all of that away, and then turned around. There was other moms there that were dropping their kids off. And so I just didn't really want to interrupt. So I said bye and thanked her and walked out the door. And then I got to my car, and then I was like, oh my God, I didn't even hug or kiss Augie goodbye. I didn't take his picture like I wanted to. And then I'm just like bawling in my car because I feel like I'm a horrible mom and I'm kicking myself because I really saw that going down differently in my head. You have these expectations going into something, and then when you don't meet those expectations, you're like, WTF, like, what is wrong with me? And so that was pretty much what I was experiencing. And then I debated, like, do I need to go back in? Should I? Would that be dumb? And so, anyways, I ended up just pulling out and going home, and I cried all the way home. And I get home and I'm eating breakfast and I'm crying through breakfast. And it was just a really emotional day. And from what I'm hearing from others, this is completely normal. What was great about last week is I scheduled a self-care day for myself on day 2 of going back to work. So, because why not? Like, I've been off for 12 weeks, but like those 12 weeks were not a walk in the park. Okay. Especially because we did have a colicky baby for a month and a half of that time. So yeah, I say all of that because it's really been an emotional roller coaster. And I feel like emotionally taking back to daycare was very similar to the emotions of that first week we brought him home from the hospital. Just so many highs and lows, right? And what I don't like is people being like, oh, but it makes the evenings that much sweeter. I disagree. And telling me that does not make me feel better because actually evenings aren't sweeter, because what I hate is now I only have so much time with him in the evening. And that is just so less than ideal for me. I'm working on manifesting a nanny. If you know of anyone in the Eastern Iowa area, send them my way because I want to manifest that. I digress. So, like I said, there's just so many emotions, and mentally it's exhausting postpartum, and physically, if you're the one that had the baby, you're exhausted, and then going back to work after what I feel is not enough time off. I feel 12 weeks is not enough time. I don't know what the ideal amount of time should be, but 12 weeks to me was not enough. And I know a lot of women who've had significantly less than that. So I'm grateful that I was able to take the 12 weeks, but I'm telling you, it was not enough. And so I'm really trying to just honor this current season that I'm in. But at the same time, I really want to get back into routine because I know that I thrive on routine. I know that I am my best self when I'm in a really great routine. And I do want to share that what surprised me about this new season of motherhood is the shift in my identity. Like, I did not expect for that to really impact me in a big way, and it did, which is just so wild to me. I thought I was mentally prepared for that shift. And I've learned a lot, as you know, if you've listened to my previous solo episodes, I've learned a lot about slowing down and being okay with that. Whereas before Augie, I was not okay with that. I thought I was, but I was not. So that there's been a lot of lessons that I've learned from this new season. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting on all of this. And what I want to share with you is that it's okay if you are in a new season, whether it be postpartum or maybe a new season as an entrepreneur, newly married. I want you to know that if you are in a new season, it's okay if you haven't bounced back yet. And I saw a quote once that said, "We're not meant to bounce, we're meant to rebirth." And that really resonated with me because that's exactly what I feel like I've gone through. I feel like I've had this rebirth. I am a different person in many ways for the better, I feel. And I'm trying to bounce back to some of my old habits, and it's just not that easy. So I just want to normalize that it's okay if you haven't bounced back, but to recognize that you are probably going through a rebirth because that's definitely what I'm going through. And you really just need to give yourself permission to evolve into this new version of yourself. Give yourself that permission because then you're less likely to shame yourself. And shaming yourself is not going to make you feel any better. So don't do that to yourself. So, some of the routines that I'm really trying to ease myself back into that I want to share with you guys are things like daily affirmations, daily gratitude, daily meditation or visualization practice, red light therapy, my taking my supplements consistently, my morning walks, my evening walks. So, I'm really trying to get these things back into my routine because I recognize that when I was doing those things, I felt like I was a better version of myself. But I want to share some honest thoughts on each of these practices, not because I want to give you pressure to implement them yourself, but more because these practices for me were really powerful anchors that I came home to every day. I felt like I was showing up as my highest self because I put these practices into my daily routine, if that makes sense. So, the reason I do daily affirmations and gratitude is one, it's an easy manifestation practice that you can implement into your daily life. And I encourage everyone to do them, whether you're a coaching client or a therapy client. I encourage everyone to do them because they have been so powerful in my life. I truly feel I've manifested things because this is one of the practices that I do regularly, besides things like scripting and visualization and all that. I was doing this daily, and I really want to get back into doing it daily again. Another one is daily meditation and or visualization. They're so similar. And sometimes I do visualizations, sometimes meditations. When I was doing these daily, I was a more grounded and centered version of myself. And that's ultimately who I strive to show up as. That's how that next level version of me shows up. She is just naturally grounded and centered. And I like to bring that energy into the room. And so I want to get back into that because I want to feel more grounded day in and day out. Red light therapy specifically has so many benefits. Like, I'm not going to list them all for you guys because just look it up on Pinterest or Google. But I felt like doing red light therapy was one, it did ground me, which I loved. Two, I feel like it's good for my skin. I felt like it was good for my gut health. I was doing it on my gut a lot. I felt like it was good for my fertility journey. I don't know. There's so many benefits from it. Like, I'm drawing a blank right now, but look it up if you're not familiar with that. I do have a portable little red light thing that I use. And then just recently I ordered a red light face mask that I want to get back into the habit of using the portable. But now, once the face mask arrives, I want to start using that daily as well. I've noticed that specifically during maternity leave, I was horrible about taking my supplements consistently every day. I feel like now that I'm back to work, it's much more easy, but it's just something I recognize I need to be more intentional about because I feel better when I'm taking those more regularly. And listen, I don't take a whole slew of them. I mean, honestly, they've significantly decreased over the last year, but I do feel the ones I take do make me feel better. And so I want to get back into the habit of taking those more consistently. And then the last one that I want to mention is my daily walks. I was prior to Augie taking a normal or a daily morning walk and then a daily evening walk. I understand I might have to make a sacrifice with that, and I'm okay with that. However, doing a daily walk is so important to me because one, it's that sacred solo time that I feel I need as a mom and a wife and an entrepreneur and a therapist, but also it was such a great mood booster. Starting my day off with a morning walk. Like I would literally, before Augie, get out of bed, change my clothes, put my shoes on, and walk. Whether it was light out or not, I would walk. And that was just, I wouldn't even look at my phone before walking. And that was just the best way to start out my day. It's a little harder to do that now because our morning routine has shifted a little bit between my husband and I, because one of us is obviously going to be feeding and caring for Augie while the other is getting ready. But the plan is to still get my walk in after I take Augie to daycare. So I'm still getting that morning walk, that mood booster, that solo time. And another benefit of it is it's a great mindfulness tool. It gets me outside in nature, which it's summer right now, so I definitely need that time. But honestly, it doesn't matter what time of year it is. Even in the dead of winter, me getting outside has been so good for clearing my mind and grounding myself. So there's so many benefits to that. So these are kind of the tools or the habits that I'm trying to get back into my routine. And I'm trying to give myself grace because I understand it's not just going to shift overnight. But again, when I was doing all of these things, I felt like a better version of myself. And I feel like I'm going to be a better mom if I'm able to incorporate these things into my routine. And I fully will admit that some of these I might just have to incorporate Augie into with me, like the walks. That's fine. I'm more than happy to incorporate him into those. Same with red light therapy. It's good for him too. So I'm happy to incorporate him into that. But in general, I just need to be more intentional about getting these back into my routine. I really want to debunk the myth that moms have to come last. I feel like a part of our parents' generation lived by this, and now I see the negative side effects of that or the negative consequences of that. That is such a myth. That is not a fact. Moms, just because you become a mom does not mean that your needs come last. I really encourage you to challenge that mindset because I personally do not live by that. I feel I will be a better wife, a better mom, a better entrepreneur if I am prioritizing my health and wellness. And in general, I want to raise a family. I want my kids to grow up seeing a mom who prioritizes her health and wellness because what you model is what your kids are more likely to pick up on. And I want them to see that that's a priority for me and a value of mine. If you are more likely to prioritize filling your own cup prior to filling others, like your kids, your spouse, etc., you are more likely to be a more present and grounded mom. And I really like when people use the analogy of the oxygen mask on the airplane. Like you put yours on first and then your kids, because you can't help them if you yourself can't breathe. So with your health and wellness, put yourself first sometimes. It is not being selfish. It is modeling healthy skills and healthy boundaries for your kids. And then you're going to be a better version of yourself for them when you are around them. For me, I have had to put some boundaries in place. Like I will not look at my work phone now when I get home from work at the end of the day. In fact, I'm changing my whole work schedule. I am no longer I'm only letting late sessions happen 1 day a week. Otherwise, the rest of the week, nobody is going to be allowed to schedule therapy sessions with me after 4:30. That's when pickup time is for daycare. And I will be picking him up from daycare every day. And so if clients want to see me, they will make it work to schedule with me during the day. That's just how it has to be. And if a client can't make that work, then they can go find another therapist. I'm not going to be butthurt about that. In fact, I would encourage that. If you are an ideal client of mine and you're able to make that work, then you'll make it work. And that's just how it has to be. Now that I have a family, I am not going to put other people's needs constantly before my own. I was doing that before when I was only going home to my husband. He was okay with that, and I was okay with that. I'm not okay with that now. I'm going to put my family first now. And hopefully my clients will understand that. So those are some boundaries I've had to put in place. There's also needed to be some mindset shifts to support this as well. Like, I have really had to practice giving myself grace with trying to get a routine started. I've really had to give myself permission to not fit all these things into my day or my routine. I've had to tell myself, you're making sacrifices. That's okay. Over time, you will get back into this. There's had to be a little bit of a mindset shift there so that I'm not shaming myself for not getting back into this health and wellness routine that I had going before. And I just want to normalize that balance is never perfect. Like, you will never have a completely balanced scale in life. Okay. It's more of a dance. Okay. It's not an end destination. I don't feel that's possible. It really is more of a dance. You'll have times where you feel like it's balanced and times where you feel like, whoa, we are way out of balance right now. And that's okay. Okay. Because you will never achieve perfect balance. And if you do, it won't last very long. Okay. So just understand it's not an end destination, not in any way, shape, or form. Okay. It's a journey. I also want to talk about how there is definitely this intersection that I'm noticing now in my life of like this new role as a mom and navigating that with my other roles, like my role as a therapist, my role as a coach, my role as a wife, as a daughter. There's so much intersection going on now. And yeah, it's not easy balancing it all. I'm not saying I thought it was going to be easy going into this, but it's been a little bit of a wake up call for me. I'm not saying I'm handling it perfectly by any means, but I would say I'm just really trying to give myself grace in this area. But I'm sharing this because I want you to know if you feel you're struggling with some of that intersection, you are not alone, okay? There are days where I recognize I'm not the best version of myself, and I just have to give myself grace, okay? Especially if it's a day when I'm sleep deprived. Maybe I've had a full day of sessions. Like, I'm not always going to be that best version of myself, and it is okay. If you find yourself really struggling with this, another thing I want to say about this is it can be so easy to pour yourself into like one of those roles that you're playing, like pour yourself into being a mom, pour yourself into being a wife, being an entrepreneur, being a therapist, being a coach, whatever it is for you. But it really is ideal that you try to find balance between all those roles, because if you are solely pouring into being a mom, it is going to be really tough for you 18 years from now when that child leaves the nest, because that role, that identity isn't going to be as prevalent for you. And you might experience an identity crisis because of that. Or if you're solely pouring into your role as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a service provider, but not much to any of the other roles, when retirement comes, you may really struggle because that identity is being taken from you in some ways. And so I really encourage you to try and find that healthy balance of pouring into each of those roles. And while there may be times where one role is more of a priority than others, that's fine. But don't set up camp there solely for the next 18 years, because you still need to pour into your marriage. You still need to pour into your business. You still need to pour into your job, whatever that might be. It can't be, your life can't be all about motherhood right now. There's other parts to you. You're not solely a mom. There's so much more to you than just that identity. And you need to recognize that and bring that to your attention. And like I've been saying, give yourself grace through all of this. Be willing to be flexible. Flexibility is way more important than perfection. Perfection is so unrealistic. Let that go. If that's a shadow version of yourself that you find you are battling regularly, let that go. Face that shadow, release that, because you are setting yourself up for failure. It is not worth it. Perfection is just not possible. And I also want to reaffirm for you that it is okay to still have goals. It is okay to still be ambitious. It is okay to prioritize your growth. I'm doing all of that alongside being a mom now, because I want Augie or my future children, I want them to see a mom that unapologetically goes after her goals and unapologetically shows up in her business. And listen, they'll be a part of the business. There will be days where I have to bring them to the office, and it's just going to have to be okay. We have a great circle in our office where if we have one day where daycare is off and we weren't able to get a babysitter, we help each other out. We watch each other's kids, and it's okay. We make it work. And honestly, I love that. I want my kids to see what the office is from time to time. I want them to feel that they can walk in there and be included and be loved on by others in the office. I love that idea. So they're seeing my business in action as they grow up. So give yourself permission. It's fine to still have goals. You should still be ambitious. You should still prioritize your growth. You're setting such a great example for your kids when you do that. Okay, I want to wrap things up, but I do like to end with some reflection questions, some affirmations for you guys. So just a couple of questions to reflect on or journal on, whatever feels right for you. What is a small ritual that helps you feel like you again? So like meditation is big for me. That really makes me feel like me again. What is that for you? And what is one thing that you can return to this week that supports your wellness? What would that be for you? Mine is I'm going to get back into my affirmations and daily gratitude. I'm going to work on that today yet, actually. And then some affirmations. I am allowed to care for myself even as I care for others, and my wellness matters. My needs matter. I matter. Repeat that to yourself daily if you are struggling with this. And one other thing I want to say is just understand that this might be slow progress. And that's okay. That's normal. Routines evolve with every season of life that we're in. So my new season, my routine might look and feel different than what it was like before Augie. I might not do red light therapy daily. I might be doing it twice a week. And that's okay. But understand that our routines, they evolve as we go in and out of different seasons of life, and that's normal. Okay, you guys, thank you for being a part of this journey for me. Thank you for, if you are a fellow mother, thank you for your support in motherhood. And I just really encourage you to prioritize your healing journey. Whether you're a new mom, a seasoned mom, it doesn't matter. You need to prioritize your healing journey because the future you will thank you and your kids will as well. I mean, I would hope that you would want your kids to see a parent that prioritizes her health and wellness. I would hope you would want that. So model that for them. Make time for it. It doesn't have to be daily, but make time for it. And then I really encourage you to have a daily motto or a daily affirmation or a daily mantra, whatever you want to call it. Just daily tell yourself you're doing better than you think. Because our inner critic always makes us feel like we are failing at something, but I guarantee you're not. So tell yourself you're doing better than you think. I'm doing better than I think. Daily. Repeat that to yourself daily. In the mirror would be even better. And then one last thing, I just want to remind you that I know I said this earlier, but I feel like we all need this reminder. Choosing you is never selfish. It's sacred. That you time is sacred time. And it is never selfish to prioritize that. So get that language out of your head if you think it's selfish, because it is not. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I really encourage you to share this episode with another mom that you think really needs to hear this message, or another mompreneur in your life who needs to hear this message. And I would really love it if you would connect with me on Instagram if this really resonated with you, or if you want to share it to your story, that would be awesome too. I really appreciate it. And then if there's any of my offers that you think you'd be interested in, I really encourage you to check out my website and see if any of them would hit home for you, and I'd be happy to set up a clarity call if so. All right, guys, have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you all next week.